Hi, and welcome to Microcomputer Apps. In this lesson, we're going to be starting Microsoft Excel 2013. This is for Chapter 1 or Project 1. And in this one, we're going to be creating a worksheet and adding a chart to it. So some of the objectives. You're going to be able to describe your Excel worksheet, enter text and numbers, use the sum so that you can sum a range of cells, enter a simple function, copy the contents of the cells to a range of cells using the fill handle. You're going to apply cell styles, format the cells in a worksheet. You're also going to be able to create a 3D pie chart, change the worksheet name and sheet tab color, change the properties, print and preview the worksheet, use the auto calculate to display the statistics, and correct any errors on a worksheet. So this is the project we're going to be doing together. This is a personal budget worksheet, and we're going to be formatting this, entering in all the text, all the numbers, and then creating this pie chart that goes along with it. So the first thing you're going to have to do is we're going to start by entering in text, then we're going to calculate and use formulas. We'll save it. We'll format the text. We'll put in our pie chart, assign a new name to the worksheet tab, and print and preview the worksheet. And we'll be doing all of that together in this video. It'll be more than one video, so you'll have to watch all of them to get through it. But we'll be doing all of this together, and then you'll turn this in at the end, and you'll have your individual assignments to do. So let me go ahead, and I'll just open up Excel and work with you to do this one. When you open Excel, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to see any recent files that you have had open. You're going to see a blank worksheet here. You're also going to see some templates that you could open so you could create things. We're going to be working with a blank worksheet and starting from scratch, so I'm just going to double click on the blank worksheet. This is going to open it up. This is going to have your ribbon at the top, just like we've had with Word, just like we had with Access, and just like you're going to see in PowerPoint. So your ribbon is really your command center. This is where all your formatting, all your calculations, everything you're going to need to do, you're going to find that on one of the tabs across the ribbon. So if you're following along in your book, we are going to be starting instructions on page 5. So we've already opened Excel into a blank worksheet. So the first thing we're going to do is enter text. Text is used to place titles, such as the worksheet titles or column titles and row titles on your worksheet. All the worksheet titles and subtitles should be brief and meaningful and give just a basic description. So we're going to begin by entering the worksheet titles into our worksheet. So we're going to click in cell A1. When I'm working in Excel, every one of these little boxes is considered a cell. And I can tell what cell I'm in by the cell address. The cell address is located up here in the name box. You can also tell because I am in column C, row 10, which is going to be C10. So kind of like on Battleship. On here, I'm in column B, row 4, so that would give me cell B4. So we're going to start in cell A1, and we're going to type the personal budget worksheet. Okay, to enter that data into the cell, I can either type it here or I can type it up here. Once I've typed it, I must press enter or tab for it to accept the information into the cell. Okay, next we're going to go to cell A2, and we're going to type monthly estimates. And we're going to then click enter to go ahead and enter that information into that cell. When you're using Excel, there is an autocorrect feature that will capitalize. So some of the things that the autocorrect feature does is it works behind the scenes. It will correct the two initial uppercase letters by changing the second to a lowercase. It will capitalize the first letter of names in days, and it will replace commonly misspelled words with their correct spelling. So just like in Word, it's going to do a couple of those autocorrect things for us. So now we're going to enter in our column titles. So remember, your columns are going across the top. This is basically the title for our entire worksheet, and we'll be formatting that a little bit later. Right now we're going to go with our titles. So the first one's going to be income. In cell A3, I'm just going to tab to move me over to cell A4. And in this one, I'm going to type January. Tab. And I'm just going to type in, it wants me to type in the rest of my months. Your book does not have you do this. It actually wants you to type in all the months across here, but I'm going to show you a shortcut, and it's by using the autofill handle. So if I've typed a month, January, if I use my fill handle, which means I put my cursor at the bottom right-hand corner of my cell, I'm going to get a black plus sign. And that black plus sign is my fill handle. So if I fill across, you will notice that Excel says, I bet you're wanting to list out all the months. I can go all the way through until I get to December and release, and it's going to go ahead and fill in the months for me. Of course, you could have typed those in yourself. Okay, after December, I want my next column to be called total, because I'm going to total these up. Next, I'm going to go down to cell A8. So I'm going to go back over to column A, go down to 8. And in this area, I'm going to, we had income up at the top, now we're going to have expenses. Okay, and I want my months listed again. So again, it has you type all these in, but we can just do January. And then we know to use our fill handle to fill that all the way across to December. And then I'm going to come over here and type total. So I have my income section and my expenses, and I've got them all listed out per month. Next, I'm ready to type in my row headings. So the columns went across the top, and they're labeled by letters. Rows go down the side, and they're going to have numbers. So I'm ready to put in my row headings. In cell A4, so I'm coming over to column A, row 4. And for this one, this is where I'm going to put my wages. Going down to the next cell, I'm going to put dividends, and that's the dividends you would have received from stocks. And that's the only place we can get any income, so we're just going to list total. Okay, going down to my expenses area. Some of my expenses, I'm going to have rent. And I'm just pressing enter, and whenever I press enter, it's going to take me down one row. Then I have food, tuition, books, entertainment, car payment, gas, miscellaneous, and that's all my expenses, so then I'm going to put total. Okay, skipping on down to, I'm going to skip 18 and go down to row 19, and here I'm going to put net. Okay, if you have taken an accounting class, you know what net is. If not, net is going to be your revenue minus your expenses, which is either going to give you a net income, meaning you have more money left at the end of the month, or a net loss, which means you spent more money than you made. Hopefully you always have a net income. You should never be spending more than you made. When you're entering text, text is always going to be left aligned in all your cells. So text as in words is going to be left aligned. Okay, next we're ready to enter in the numbers. So in your book on page 12, you're going to see all the data that we're going to be typing in to this Excel worksheet. So go ahead, and I'm going to have you do that. If you don't have a book in front of you, you can just pause the video, because in the next screen I'm going to show you the numbers you're going to be typing. So this is going to be the data you're going to put in. Don't worry about the formatting. Just type in the numbers that you see on this screen, and go ahead and pause the video while you do that. Okay, once you have all of your numbers typed in, we're going to be ready to do some calculations. And the great thing about Excel is that it's going to do your calculations for you, so you do not have to do all the math. So in your book now, we're going to be on page 14, and we're going to be calculating a sum. Sum is a function that adds all the numbers in a range of cells. A range is more than one cell that are next to each other, so that would be a range. And in Excel, you write a range with a colon. So this would be L9 colon L15 that I have selected here, because that's my range with the colon in the center to say that it's through. So we're going to start with cell B6. And we're going to want to total all of our income for January, which is our wages and our dividends. So to total that, we're going to, you can type in the formula, but the easiest way to do it is on your home tab. This is what Excel is known for. I can go to my auto sum button. If you click the arrow next to it, you'll see that it gives you several things you can do, such as sum, average, count, find the maximum, find the minimum. If you just click on auto sum, it assumes that you're wanting to sum or add, and it's going to put little moving brackets around what it thinks you want to add. If that is correct, you can just press enter, and it's going to add that up and put the answer down here at the bottom. Next, we want to add up all these columns, but instead of hitting auto sum on all of them, we can use our fill handle again. So your fill handle, remember, was down at the bottom right hand corner, the little black cross. And you're just going to then drag all the way across where you want this information filled to through the month of December. And when I release, it's going to copy that formula. Here it had equal sum B4 through B5, and it changed it to equal sum C4 through C5. So every time it moved over, it assumed that because I was in a different column, that it was wanting me to add the cells that was above it. So it didn't just do an actual straight copy, it modified it to what it thought I really wanted to have, which is what we wanted to do. And that is how you, the easiest way to copy to an adjacent cell is by using the autofill handle. Okay, next we're going to I'm moving through this rather quickly. I've skipped some of the steps in your book because I've shown you an easier way to do this. Okay, so now we're going to come down here and we want to do the same thing with our expenses. We want to total up our January expenses, so I'm going to go to my total row under January in cell B17, hit the auto sum button, and it's going to say, I bet you're wanting to add all the numbers in B9 through B16. Is that correct? Yes, it is. So I will press enter. Then I'm going to go ahead and just use my autofill handle to take that all the way through to December. If when you're adding this, it would have highlighted a different range of numbers, all I had to do was just go ahead and select what I wanted, and it would have copied and filled in that information. So, okay, at this point we're ready to find out what our net income or net loss was. So we need to know where our total is our total income bigger than our total expenses. So to do that, you would normally take the $5,001.04 minus $3,155.68. But the great thing about Excel is it's going to do your math for you. So we're going to write a formula to do this. Every formula in Excel is going to start with the equal sign. So I'm going to go where I want my answer to be, and I'm going to type equal. Then instead of typing in the amount of my total up here, I'm going to click on the cell B6. By clicking on B6, it's going to put my B6 down here, and it also color codes it so I know B6 and B6, that those are related. And then I'm going to subtract, so I hit minus, and I want to subtract my total expenses, which is located in cell B17. So I'm going to click on B17. So my formula reads equal B6 minus B17, or in other words, I want my total income minus my total expenses. And I'm going to press enter so that Excel will register that number. Okay, if something doesn't look right, because you should always double check it, just make sure it looks right to make sure you've done your formula correct. 5,000 minus 3,000, yeah, that's going to leave about the 18,000 here. So I can always double click on my formula down here, and it's going to bring it up, again, color coded, so I can easily see that I've got the right information in that cell. Okay, next, because Excel, you don't have to retype your formulas as we've already learned, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to fill that over through December. Okay, the great thing about this is that when it moves my formula, for example, this one was in column B, I can press escape to get out of my formula. If I come over to this one, in column C, I can tell that it's moved it over to column C. Now I'm getting lots of negative numbers, so that's a sign that maybe I have done something wrong. So I'm going to go back in and double check my numbers. Nope, it looks like my numbers are all correct. And it looks like I did have a negative in my budget, that I'm actually going to be spending more than I earn in these months, which is not good. So, since I've double checked that and I know that that was correct because there was a red flag, I'm going to go on. Okay, so I want to find out what is my total wages income for the entire year. So again, we're going to use that total or auto sum button. So I'm going to go to my home tab and I'm going to click on auto sum. And it assumes that I want to add up these rows. I do. I can press enter. And just like we did before, I'm going to use my fill handle. And it's going to fill it down here. Now there's another way to do it. Instead of putting it in one cell and then filling it down, I can actually highlight. If I have adjacent cells that I'm wanting to find the total in, I can actually highlight all of these. And then I'm going to hit auto sum. And it went ahead and auto summed these up. Now I can double check by coming here and highlighting. Yep, it summed up the row for rent. On my next one, yep, summed up the row for food all the way down. So I know that those worked. Now I still need to get my total net, either income or loss. So I can either type my formula or I could fill it across. The easiest way would be to fill across, but I'm going to go ahead and type the formula just so you have another practice at doing that. So I'm going to go where I want my answer. I'm going to type equal. I'm going to click on my first number. Then I'm going to hit minus, and I'm going to click on my second number. And I'm going to press enter. So overall for the year, it looks like we're going to come out with about a $2,000 net income. When we are doing our formulas, it is changing all of them to match the columns we're in. We talked about that. It doesn't just straight copy. So that's the best thing about Excel. And the reason why that's so great is because if I would come up here and change a number, it would change my total down here. I would not have to retype a formula or redo the math in any way to do that. Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and we're going to save our file. So I'm going to go to File, Save As, go where you want your file saved to. And we're going to name this one EX1 space Bob Lehman Budget. And hit Save. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to stop this video. This is part 1, and be sure you come back and watch part 2 so we can do the formatting of the worksheet.